And look who's back. How's everybody doing? It's a bit of a mess out there. And sometimes you look at the goings on in the world and you wonder, why, what's happening? This is not working. And then you realize there's a bigger system that's at work behind this. And if you look at the unintended consequences that are coming up all over the place, then you understand that there's something much bigger going on than we can even imagine. We can't imagine what's going on in the world. I haven't been on for a while now, but I've been trolling groups and finding and connecting with people as far as I can, and reaching out to people as I was led to do that. And it's been a while. I have a few challenges and stuff that I still have to work on. But anyway, my teeth are fixed, as you can see, which was my major problem. I had several broken teeth since lockdown, and it only by some miracle actually got fixed about a week and a half ago. So in this day and age where there's chaos and everything, there are still miracles happening, and I can attest to quite a few in the last, since lockdown, a few things that I needed and I required, and it happened. And the way it happened and the way things showed up in my life was quite astonishing. Like these teeth, the guy told me, I went to the doctor, yes, yeah, in a town called Mittersel, not far from here, and he told me, sorry, dude, it's going to take a year to fix it. So it was kind of, no, I don't need that. And on top of everything else, and then I truly surrendered to the whole thing, and I just said, okay, fine, I need a different answer. This answer is not going to work. I need something different. Please send help. Those were my words. And I honestly had to surrender into this and say, okay, fine. You know, there are many questions that I don't have answers to, and there are many things that has to be done that I don't have access to, and I don't have funds to do all these hundreds of things. And like, for instance, I'm waiting for an approval for a business license here in Austria so that I can start a business, so that I can work. On the one hand, on the other hand, I have to get a license as an expert, as a consultant. So, because I can't do a coach, you can't do a coach. You have to get a special license for a coach, which is quite a complicated story. So I was very blessed to be connected to people all along the road who helped me, actually. You know, some people, like the guy from they call it the Wirtschaftskammer, which is like it's like a chamber of commerce, but they very much into helping entrepreneurs and people to establish businesses, because there's a lot of people here without work, and as you can imagine. So what happened really is this guy came and he said, okay, you know, do this and this, and I did it, and sent all the stuff back. So I get a message back from the chiefs in charge of the government. They say, okay, they want everything in German. So, okay, fine. I have to do everything in German. So I did it. In the beginning, they asked for everything must be certified in German, but that was going to cost me like plenty. So anyway, I did what I could, and I sent it in. So now I'm waiting for that. If they say yes, I have a business. If they say no, I'm going back to South Africa. So that's how simple this whole thing is. Anyway, as it may be, I'm so very happy to be able to say that this is my calling and this is what I'm supposed to do in the world, and I can do it from anywhere. Because now at this very time, as I see and as I connect to other people, like in other groups and so on, I get to speak to people who are in a lot of pain, but a lot of that pain is not necessary because they are telling themselves, or they believe in the stories they hear, and you have to be very careful what you say, so that you don't get like bombed off the system. So what is important for us to understand now is there's a lot of turmoil, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of anger. There are many relationships that were weak going into Corona and going into the whole time. And those things will just go, they'll just explode because there's nothing keeping it together. If it's pride and things like that, that keeps the thing going, it's not going to work because what you see more and more now is people realizing that, it is more important to have a good someone to speak to than someone with a position. I hope this makes sense, but this is how it's coming out. So if we look at the relationships at work now, and I was just hearing about Manhattan in New York. Greg Braden had a chat. Sorry, I'm jumping, but Greg Braden had a talk on Gaia, where he said the first point he was saying is that the whole system wants people to go into huge cities and things and stay, where they kind of, can handle you. So they're putting people they want to put people into like big cities. And he himself, he said, no, he's not into that kind of thing. He'd like to have more nature and so on. And yet, as he was saying that, I was watching it last night, as he was saying it, I said, but exactly the opposite is happening. Exactly the opposite. So it is an unintended consequence of what's happening now, as people are abandoning the cities and going out of the cities. There's a huge problem in, I think it's Manhattan, where the estate agents have so much stock of empty buildings that they don't know what to do with it. And people are abandoning the cities, so they want to go and live in the country. In the country areas, the values of properties are just shooting through the roof. So this is the kind of unintended consequence that's happening. And there's also this movement amongst people. In Europe, we see that people have been spending billions on bicycles. So, people want to get more back to normal stuff and normal things and do life in a normal and nature-wise way. And people want the natural things. 8 months ago, it wasn't like that. Your status was your whatever you were driving, and people were like hustling and fighting to get to the top of the tree. And now they see that the top of the tree, it's actually a blow-up tree. It's like the tree has now collapsed. And for some people, it's very traumatic because they're losing their identity and they're losing everything that they stand for and everything that they believed in. And so these dudes are dropping at the moment off that existential cliff, and they don't know, how to handle it, because no MBA teaches you that. No human resource course will teach you that, how to handle what's happening now. Fortunately, I went through this many years ago, so, and I could see and I could understand from the beginning, from about March, I could understand what was going on here. There was something was cooking and something was happening. And I asked, because I do, and I teach people how to do that. I asked and said, what was the deal? What must I do? And I got the clear message, nothing. And of course, the question was, why nothing? How can you do nothing? How can you do nothing when there's a lot of suffering and the people are still falling? People haven't hit the ground yet. You say, I will show you in the video, which I'm busy re-recording now, because I have teeth now, so I can be more natural in my videos. So what we see is this existential crisis that people are in. Is I wanted to be this person, but I needed this infrastructure, and I need this belief system, and I need that identity to be that person. And now that's all stopped. So what has happened with all the stopping, like dead stop, now suddenly the people are sitting at home and they get a time. They get time. It's their golden hour, and I identified this golden. It's a period of time between where you hit the crisis and where you better start doing something. Otherwise, you're going to really fall badly, and your crisis will deepen. But that's for a whole presentation on that stuff. So what's happening is people are falling over this cliff. Everybody was happy, kind of. No, not everybody's happy. Everybody was busy. You're busy. Your mind is too busy to think of anything else. Your head doesn't work. You know, your head used to be all business and all these things and all the stuff that you needed, and now suddenly it's all gone, and there's nothing left of this. So what's next? What's going to happen next? Next, what's going to happen is you're going to drift away from that thought pattern that, you know, your work has now stopped consuming all your energy. And now suddenly you have spare energy and you're sitting with this energy, you don't know what to do with it. So if you don't have the right assets and you don't have the right resources, which is not as you think it is, if you don't have the right combination of assets and resources, then that energy can only go into one place, and that's into fear, because you're not trying to build something. But it's not. There's nothing wrong with that. Fear is good. If if we didn't have any fear, we would have done the really stupid things. Not the way. No. Anyway. So here's the thing that we're sitting with. We have so many people who have dropped off the cliff, and they're sitting now with a lot of time, and they don't know what to do themselves. And for many of them, they're getting fired by SMS and by email, and losing their jobs and losing their livelihood and the thing that they have been working on for however long they've been working on it. Now that's gone, and they have to now start over. And here's the thing is they don't have the answer. So, when you have all this energy that needs to look for an answer and you can't find the answer because you clearly don't know what the question is, and you clearly don't know what the real problem is. When you sit with a combination of these things, then the frustration and the anxiety builds within you, and you just become this quivering wreck that's sitting there and wondering what's going to happen to my life now. How am I going to do this? How am I going to make life? How am I going to do this? And for so many people, they don't know. They have no idea. I had myself a couple of times waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, but I've also learned that waking up 3 o'clock in the morning is a good thing, because what you do then is you don't jump up and start watching Netflix. You just stay in bed and you ask, what do you need? What do you need to tell me? What do I need to learn to tell me? Speak to me. And you'll be amazed what your awareness is and stuff becomes as you learn to stop the panic, because the panic is energy and the energy is coming through you, but you need to stop that anxiety and the angst and the fear and the grief. You have to stop it and channel it in a different direction. Accept it. Accept your situation like it is at the moment. Because once you do that, you can start thinking. When you're living in fear, just forget it. You're not going to think. You cannot think constructively when you're living in fear. So I've been learning in these last few months a hell of a lot, and beginning to understand more and more of how this whole thing is going to work in the future, and how we can and how we must become a part of this whole process of the reconstruction. It's basically a reimagination, a reconstruction, because a lot of the structures have dropped, and they are dropping rather rapidly. So The challenge we have really is to find the right way of doing this. And what is the right way of going about this thing? You see, on the one side, we have the old, what we had, that's now gone. Okay, so there we are standing here in the middle, and here's the old that we have. On this side is an an antithesis of this side. In other words, this side of life worked kind of for us. This side is now a kind of how can you say? Let me explain it this way rather. What I learned from my own process of waking up, I don't use the word awakening because we've like really screwed up the word totally. So what I've learned through my period, my time of waking up to what was going on, and that's from many years ago already, that happened, is I realized that I can do one of two things. I can try and fight, try and reconstruct this system, which is not going to happen. Okay, so that's just wasting your time. That's going, I wish I had kind of thing. And this and that is just absolute waste of my time or your time and our time. The other side is to fight the system, to become a crusader. Become a crusader against or for or something, but becoming a crusader. So those are the two options that people usually think they have because they see life as this, as right or wrong. But I learned that as I went through this whole process, is when you get to the point within yourself, I call it the point of peace. When you get to the point of peace, you will be amazed to see something happen in your awareness and in your surrounding. And that's the road opening up through the middle. And through the middle is where we're going to create a new reality. Not being a crusader for this side or trying to recreate what was, but by creating something brand new. And there is so much energy available for that now. 6, 7, 8 months ago, that energy was not available for that. The only energy that was available was for grinding and fighting and, hassling and hustling and going on. Retargeting people with emails 45,000 times and hope they buy your stuff. Now we see something happening, and this I've seen in the online world is we're moving away from that nonsense, and because it's actually quite irritating to be retargeted 75 times by someone who says, I want you to do this. Yesterday I wanted you to do this, so tomorrow you must do this, and it's really irritating to have to go wade through your email. I just unsubscribe from these people now. But it's annoying. So getting to the point of this bit here is now it's changing to building relationships with your customers and your clients all over the world. You have to have a relationship with them. And that relationship needs to be built on trust. If they trust you and they like you, they'll buy from you, kind of thing. So I've seen how important that is for us to develop that trust relationship with people from all over the world. We need to stop bullshitting, seriously. Especially the false heroes and people. I've helped 400,000 million people reach 7, 8, 9-figure businesses and all that shit. And then you look at the timeline from 3 weeks ago or 2 months ago and so on, and they're still fighting with their mother because their mother needs them to move out of the house. So I think the era of bullshit is really grinding to a halt. And as it grinds to a halt, it will just disappear because people are getting sick and tired of that kind of being handled. The old marketing system could handle people, but people are now taking back their right and saying, you know what, stop, you just go away. The market is speaking. Like Gary Vaynerchuk, when he talks about the market will decide. The market needs to decide, and you and I are the market. We are the 99. We will decide what's going to happen. And that is good. I really enjoy a lot of that kind of move where people are moving away. You can see some of these big guys, the really big guys, they are waking up and realizing, you know, it, it's kind of pointless telling people about this guy's billion and that guy's billion. And so this is a new world and a new market and a new way of doing things. And it's an exciting time, although it's freaking scary. And yes, we don't know exactly what's going to cook and what's going to happen. We don't know. But what we do know is that we are resilient. However difficult and hard life might become, as we are harder than that. We can survive and we can do things, and we can really make a difference in the world if we want to. And I've put out a few feelers on the group to see, you know, what kind of things will be interesting for people to do, and there's quite a few, you know. There's a lot of things happening on my side to get all my ducks in a row as well, to get the quantum switch really going as a portal for transformation, because we need the transformation. We need the transformation because you cannot just use what you had in the past and drag it into the future, because all it's going to do is going to like trip you up and drag you down, and you're going to fall on your face. What you need to do is let that luggage go. I don't know if anybody's seen, well, I'm sure you have, some of seen the movie The Mission, and I think it's Robert De Niro that plays in the movie, where he's a monk and he's trying to drag a whole lot of metal objects up a waterfall, because that's his penance. Stupid. So his penance is to drag this stuff around with him, and then when he gets to the top of the waterfall, or like halfway up, some of the guy cuts the stuff loose and it falls off, and he can move. And it's a symbolism for me, is how many of us are halfway up the waterfall with all that luggage and baggage dragging you down. Because a few things that I know. First thing is, we need to travel light now. We need to be able to travel light, emotionally travel light, because there's going to be a hell of a insanity going around with people. So you need to travel light. Don't get offended at everything that people say. You do that, it's going to catch you out, and you're going to fall into the side. You need to stay in the middle. We need to stay in the middle. If we stay in the middle, we'll create a brand new world for ourselves. The thing is that in the middle, you're not competing with anybody. You're not fighting with anybody. You are just creating. You are creating a new dispensation for yourself, not for other people. Of course, when you do it in a conscious way, other people will benefit by default. If you start your business as a conscious entrepreneur, which is one of the programs we're going to do, when you start it as a conscious entrepreneur, what's going to happen is you're going to benefit society. When you do conscious entrepreneurship, you say that let's create a business that creates prosperity for everybody on purpose and by design. Can you do that? Yes, you can do that, but you need a different paradigm. You need that transformation to happen in you and through you and with you. When you do that, you're going to understand that traveling light means that you can create in joy, and you can have peace, and you can actually work with understanding and acceptance of as things happen, and you can solve problems along the way. Our entire business world, and if you listen to everybody talking, giving you a lecture of some kind. They say the successful entrepreneur is the person who solves the problems the best. Okay, so I beg to differ. not that I can say 100%. You know, I am not a millionaire, not at all. But what I do understand is there's a new door opening for people to say that, okay, let's consciously create this better world for ourselves and take our eyes off the problem. Because if you study quantum physics and quantum mechanics, you understand that if you look at the problem, you create it. The more you're looking for problems, the more you're going to find. So look for the creative bit. And I remember this from all those years ago, and I had to remind myself again. If you're in the creative mode, then there will be problems, yes. But those problems are things to be solved along the way. Okay? So it's not that I am going for this problem, and then that problem, and then that problem, while I'm losing the vision of where I want to go. So the idea is to have this big vision for yourself, and not scary or whatever, but have a real vision that can burn within you, and that can consume your energy, the vision and the mission, so that you can move forward. Sorry about the chair. So that you can move forward towards that vision. And whenever problems come along, then you solve them. But your whole focus is not on the problem. Your focus is on creating a new reality. Does that make sense? I think so, because that is what we need. And goodness me, we need some more joy, really. I put the thing on the course the other day, on the group the other day, saying that what we need to do is build more joy and love and peace and into the whole transformation process. So we need to move to that side of the fence. Not that there's a fence. We need to move more into those energies so that we can create prosperity. You do not create prosperity when you're angry and you are living in grief and you're apathetic and you feel guilty and you're ashamed of who you are. You can't create a prosperous business. What you're going to build is castles around you to make sure that you don't get hurt. And you're going to get hurt anyway, because then you isolate yourself more and more and more, and that's just not going to work. So although you're scared and worried and all that stuff now, I think it's time that we kind of start going in a different direction for ourselves. Each one, not by ourselves, but responsible for ourselves. Makes you think, doesn't it? Anyway, we are here to create a brand new, brilliant, fantastic reality for ourselves. You're in. Regardless of what's going on around you, I want you to experience some peace and some joy. And in the next few days and so on, what we're going to do is we're going to launch a coaching program, because that's something that actually happened for me. I never had an idea. I never had a clue that I was going to have to become a coach. Because for me, I'm like in the 60s. So for me, coach was someone who coached a rugby team or a soccer team or a cricket team. So not a person. You want a person for a coach. So I was real old school. And then I realized that actually, in order to go through all this transformation stuff, you need a coach. You're not going to get yourself to a higher level of consciousness. And all the stuff that I've designed and worked out and discovered, and the program I've designed is a brilliant program, but I didn't know how was I going to bring it to the people. So someone said to me, well, the only way you can do it is become a coach. It's like, really? Me, a coach? And then I had a few sessions with some people, and I actually realized, shit, it works. It actually does work, and it's fantastic. And I've been doing the course from EverCoach, and I will do a certification soon and so on. But it's actually quite fun to be able to help someone and to use the system that I've designed and that has been delivered to me over the years. The structure, the process, the system, the outcomes, the inputs, everything has been, I've got it all now. I didn't think of it as a coaching process. I honestly didn't. I just thought I would start for workshops and things. To be in this position where I have all the stuff ready now, and October is the month. You know, I was missing pieces of. It's not perfectionism. There was holes in my system that I couldn't explain, and as I went through this whole process in the last 2 months, all those holes filled up with different things and a few different teachers and different kind of coaches that I learned from and still learn from and still will learn from in many years to come. I learned from them, and it's quite fantastic and astonishing to be able to see and to understand how this works and how I can help people. Mother, I tell you what, it's so cool to be able to help people, to see people just explode and understand. I've helped many people through my life, but never as in the structured kind of way. And then I see the value when you do this kind of thing in the structured way with amazing results for people. So it's quite exciting. I better stop now because I guess I have to go and do something. So thank you so much for all your time. You must, if you're still listening now, then, then you must be inspired, I think. Many blessings and thank you. This is actually a recording. The Facebook Live is not functioning so hot here from me. So this will be a recording, and I'll stick it on Facebook ASAP. Many blessings. Have a fantastic day.